There's more controversy this morning with Sarah Palin in the middle of it. She just released an 8-minute internet video on the tragedy here in Tucson. She says she's been reflecting on what happened, and quoting President Reagan, she placed blame on the shooter. But she's been criticized for using a map that showed crosshairs over congressional districts targeted in November's elections.
Especially within hours of a tragedy unfolding. Journalists and pundits should not manufacture a blood libel that serves only to incite the very hatred and violence that they purport to condemn. That is reprehensible.
I want to bring in Jonathan Capehart, MSNBC contributor and Washington Post editorial writer. And I saw that you wrote about this. She says blood libel incites hatred, strong language. What do you think about this video, Jonathan?
Well, overall, I think the video was a nearly 8-minute defense of her actions and of herself. In my piece, I write that she says, "Don't blame me, blame the shooter, and then blame the media. All I was trying to do was exercise my right to dissent, and any criticism of me doing that is stifling free speech." And you know, times like this call for statesmen. It's a time that calls for people to come together and to try to move everyone along. And what Sarah Palin has done is just continue in her defensive crouch. And one other thing, Chris, she used the phrasing blood libel, and all over Twitter, all over in journalism circles, and you go on the web, and instantly people picked up on that, because that phrase is incredibly anti-Semitic, and no one is calling Sarah Palin an anti-Semite, but for her to use that language, a lot of people think she has dug a deep hole even deeper. She should have been more careful.
Let me just play another clip. Again, 8 minutes of video, but here's another little part of it.
Sure.
Acts of monstrous criminality stand on their own. They begin and end with the criminals who commit them, not collectively with all the citizens of a state, not with those who listen to talk radio, not with maps of swing districts used by both sides of the aisle.
The argument is being made right now as we look ahead already to 2012 and possible candidates, that they will be judged on the way they respond to this. The most obvious tonight here with President Obama. But do you think people like Sarah Palin and others, that this will be remembered, this video will be looked at by voters?
Yes, it will be. Whether she gets into the race or not for 2012, if she does, people are going to look at that and critique that for how did Sarah Palin respond during a national crisis, if you will, at a time when people were looking for healing and for solace? Did she provide words that aided in that healing, or did she provide words that only served to inflame the conversation? I think Sarah Palin missed an incredible opportunity to go from being someone who hides behind Twitter and Facebook to reach people, to being an actual statesperson who deserves to be talked about as someone who could possibly sit in the Oval Office. At least, that's what she wants people to think. But a performance like the one in that video today doesn't strike the right tone. They weren't the right words. She did not follow the advice from conservative commentator David Frum, which I thought was excellent. If she wanted someone to follow, the speech that Speaker Boehner gave on the floor today, right tone, right words, a statesman.
Yeah, I thought it was very moving, too. Jonathan, thank you.
Thanks.